Okay, I am going to make a start because it's past. Can you all hear me okay? Excellent. My name's Ruth Sweeney. I am the International Student Advice Manager here at King's College London. I sometimes do this talk with my colleague Anthony Tucker, and he is the Compliance Manager here at King's College London. And the two of us have slightly separate roles, but we work quite closely together. So my job is to support you. I'm here to support any international student that comes to King's College London and to make sure that you adhere to your visa. Ant's job is to make sure that the university complies with its sponsor licence and that we maintain that licence in order to sponsor visas for students like yourself. Before I start, can I just double check, everyone here, do you all have a visa? Yes. Anybody here from the EU? No? That's great, that means you're all here on the right talk. Does everybody, can you just raise your hand if you have a Tier 4 visa? Excellent. You're all in the right place. Good news. So I'm going to go through quite a few things today. And there's quite a lot of information I'm going to give you. There'll be an opportunity at the end for you to ask any questions. And I do apologise because immigration is not the most exciting of topics, but it is a very, very important topic for you as Tier 4 students studying with us. And we want to help you protect your visa. The first thing I need to tell you is that the only team here at King's College London that you should ask for advice about your visa is my team, the International Student Advice Team. We are the only staff here at King's College London who are trained and qualified to provide immigration advice. Please don't speak to your tutors, to your peers, to your classmates about your visa, because they are not trained in immigration advice. My team is the only team that is. Later on in the slides, I will show you how you can contact my team, but my team is based across 4 campuses here at King's College London, and as I say, we are here to support you. How many of you have already collected your visa, your BRP card? Okay, most of you. Not all, though. Of those of you that have not collected your BRP card, have you selected King's College London as your collection place? Yes? Okay. If you haven't collected your BRP card yet, you will collect that at the same time that you collect your student ID card at a registration appointment. You do need to book an appointment to do that, but you collect both your visa and your student ID card at the same time. For anyone who did not select King's College London as your collection place, you will need to go to the post office that you selected when you applied for your visa in order to collect that visa. And you should do that within 10 days of arriving. One of the things I really need to highlight now is that if there is anyone in the room who's tried to collect their BRP and it's not arrived yet, please don't panic. This is very common. Unfortunately, the UKVI, they produce a lot of BRPs at this time of year, and we've got lots of students who are waiting for their BRP. It hasn't arrived yet. As I say, please don't panic if you are one of those people. We have no doubt got your information, and we are contacting the UKVI about this, and we will try to get your BRP created as quickly as possible. If you don't hear anything from us within about 2 weeks, do contact my team and we can follow that up for you. But as I say, don't panic if it hasn't arrived yet, because unfortunately they are just a little bit slow, the UKVI. So those of you that do have your visa, I need you to check your visa very carefully. your visa, your BRP card, I need you to check it to make sure that your name is spelt correctly, your date of birth is correct, your nationality is correct, and everything on there looks right. If you think that there's a mistake on your BRP card, then you will have to report that to the UKVI, and we will have to get you a new BRP card. We'll need to get the correction, we'll need to get it corrected. We can assist you with that, but do check your visa carefully. If you think there's a problem with it, then let my team know. One of the things I would say absolutely categorically, your BRP card is this beautiful little card, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, oh, this is great, I can use it as ID if I want to go to the pub or want to buy some beer. Please don't carry your BRP card around with you. I really strongly urge you to keep your BRP card, which is your visa, together with your passport, somewhere safe in your home. Do not carry it around with you. The reason I say this is because getting that card replaced is incredibly troublesome. It's very easy to lose if you've got it in your pocket or your wallet. And a very large proportion of the queries that my team deal with throughout the year are students who've lost their BRP. So we know that it's a very easy thing to do. So please, keep your BRP card together with your passport at home. Use something else as a form of ID. Okay? If you do have any letters from the Home Office, I would also urge you to keep those, just in case in the future you want to make a visa application for something else. It's always useful to have any letters that you've received from the Home Office in case you want to make further visa applications here in the UK or overseas. So most of you all put your hand up to say that you had a Tier 4 visa. Which means you should have all had what we call an entry clearance vignette or sticker in your passport in order to enter the UK. That entry clearance vignette or visa sticker should have been valid for 1 month, and you used that to enter the UK, and then you presented that to collect your BRP card. If anybody did come into the UK as a general visitor, you can't unfortunately study on that visa category. So if there is anyone sitting there now who has a general visitor visa, at the end of this talk, it's very important you come and talk to me so I can talk to you about what your options are. But hopefully everybody put their hand up at the start of the session to say they had a Tier 4 visa, so that should be okay. So your Tier 4 visa, as I say, you need to check it very carefully, make sure that it's correct. One of the things you need to check is that you've been issued the right length of visa. For those of you studying a 3-year undergraduate course or a 1-year postgraduate course, you should have a visa that's valid to the end of your course plus an additional 4 months. And that should be on your BRP card. If you're here for a shorter course, between 6 and 12 months, you will have till the end of your course plus 2 months. If you're here for less than 6 months, you might just have 1 week on the end after your course finishes. As I say, please check it carefully, because if there are any mistakes on your visa, you are required to report them within 10 days to get those mistakes corrected. If in a year's time, you suddenly realise that there's a problem with the end date of your visa, you won't be able to change it at that point. It will be too late. So please do check it carefully. If you think that there's an error, let me know. How many of you are hoping to work here in the UK? Maybe have a part-time job? Yeah? That's okay. For those of you studying undergrad and postgrad courses, you should have on your visa maximum 20 hours per week work restrictions. What that means is during term time, you can work up to 20 hours a week. If anyone is studying an undergraduate or a postgraduate course and they have 10 hours or no work permitted on their visa, again, that might be a mistake, so we might be able to get that corrected for you. One of the other key things that should be on your BRP card on your visa is King's College sponsor license number. And that's this long number here at the bottom. The reason that it's important that this number is on your visa is because your visa is very tightly linked to your study, to your course, and to being here in the UK. You can only study at the university that issued you a CAS letter to help you get a visa, which means your visa is tied to us. If you have a different university sponsor license number on your visa, then you're not allowed to study with us. So if you do have a different sponsor license number on your visa, come and talk to me. Not right now, after the session. As I say, it is possible to correct any errors on your visa, and you need to report those changes to the UKVI within 10 days. If you think there is a mistake on your visa, I would suggest you report it anyway, but if you do want any help from us, you can contact my team on visasupport@kcl.ac.uk, and we can assist you with that. How many people here think they need to register with the police? Yeah, a few? Okay. Only certain nationalities are required to register with the police. And if you are unfortunate to be one of those nationalities and are required to register with the police, again, we can help you to do that. I'm just going to click on our website here and hopefully bring up the nationalities. So, on our website, we've got the list of countries required to register with the police here. If you are not one of those nationalities, that means you are not required to register with the police. If your visa tells you you do need to register with the police and your nationality is not on that list, again, it's possibly an error, so come and speak to me and we'll try and get that corrected for you. If you are required to register with the police, then we have what we call an interim process. We actually talk to the Metropolitan Police and we arrange for us to assist you to register with the police. The reason we do this, a few years ago, there was quite a lot of stuff in the news about a lot of students having to queue for 6, 7, 8, 9 longer hours in order to register with the police here in London. And it really wasn't a good experience for them. So in order to help you, what we've done is we have discussions with the police every year, and we arrange this interim process. What it means is you have to book an appointment with us. You bring all of your documents to us. We check it for you, make sure it's all okay. And at that point, we give you an appointment to go to see the police. We take copies of your documents down to the police so they can prepare your police registration certificate. And then on the appointment date that we've given you, you go down to the police, the Overseas Visa Registration Centre, with your appointment card, and you just collect your police registration certificate. So it's much faster. You don't have to queue for hours and hours and hours. If you do want to use this interim process, again, on our website, just down here, we've got a tab about the interim process, and there's 2 bookings here that you can click on to book an appointment to come and see us to get your police registration certificate. As I said, you should all have a visa with our sponsor license number on it. If you do not, then we won't, unfortunately, allow you to register with us. Is anybody in the room, does anybody have a different visa type that's not Tier 4? No, okay, that's excellent. As I said, we as an institution have a number of responsibilities. So we have our Tier 4 sponsor license, which allows us to sponsor students like you to come. And we need to maintain that sponsor license. And in order to do that, we have a number of responsibilities. Some of those responsibilities are that we need to keep a close eye on you, I'm afraid. It's not something that we really enjoy doing, but it's something we have to do because the government tells us to. So some of those things that we do have to do, we have to notify the UKVI if there are any changes to your study. If you've been issued a CAS letter and you've got a visa but you haven't come and registered on your programme with us. If you decide to leave your course or you change to a different immigration category. So there's lots and lots of things that we have to report to the UKVI. And sometimes when we report these things, what happens is the UKVI then have to curtail or cut short your visa. It's not always a bad thing. For example, anyone here, you might be thinking of changing to a different immigration category. If we report that to the UKVI, that you've changed to a different immigration category, they'll cancel your Tier 4 visa because you've switched to another visa. But unfortunately, we do have these responsibilities. And one of the key things we do have to report is where students have registered on their course, but they've not been attending. So it is very, very important for you as Tier 4 students to attend all of your classes, your lectures, your seminars, your examinations, because if you miss a certain number of those, then we have to report that to the UKVI. So as I say, we have our responsibilities, but you also have responsibilities as a Tier 4 student. And these responsibilities are part of the conditions of your visa. If you breach the conditions of your visa, that means that the UKVI could cut your visa short and ask you to leave the UK. So it's really important that you do these things to maintain your visa. One of the things is you need to keep your contact details up to date with us. So if you change your UK address, your email address or your telephone number, then you need to notify the university. It's really easy to do that. You just do that online on your student record. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to show us any evidence of it. You just do it online. The other things that you are required to do, as I said, you do need to attend all your lectures, your seminars, submit all of your assignments, attend your examinations, and you need to tell us if anything changes about your circumstances. So if you are looking to change to a different visa, or if you want to stop studying for any reason. One of the things this year, in April, there was a change to the immigration rules. And they've made the immigration rules even tighter for students studying here. I do apologise. If anything, I wish it could be very different because I know how hard you all work to get here in the first place. But unfortunately, the UK government has put these very, very strict rules on students like yourselves in order to come to the UK and get that visa. What this means is that if you're here now and you're thinking, I might want to change my course, or I might want to make a change at some point during my studies, you might not be able to do that on your visa. And the reason for this is your visa is closely linked to the course that was issued, that you had a CAS issued for. Some situations you can make that change to your course and you can continue on your current visa and it won't be a problem. But other situations, you would be required to leave the UK, apply for another Tier 4 visa, and then return in order to make that change to your course. So, what I would recommend is for any change to your course, if you're wanting to do anything, come and speak to us, International Student Advice, and we'll be able to tell you what impact that will have on your visa. It is, you know, people might want to take a break from their studies, for example, and I just want to highlight that if you do choose to take, say, a year out from your studies, and that's allowed by your department, usually what would happen is we would have to report that to the UKVI. They would cancel your visa. You would need to leave the UK and then apply for a new Tier 4 visa to return, to resume your studies in a year's time. That cancelling of your visa will not necessarily have a negative impact on your immigration history, but it is something that does need to happen. So as I say, any changes to your course at all, come and talk to us first. We'll be able to tell you what impact that will have on your visa. If you did want to change your course, if you have just started studying and you decide, actually, I don't like this particular subject, I want to move to a different subject, you would need to seek permission from your department, obviously, in order to make sure you can do that academically. But you would also need to seek permission from the visa compliance team. And they would then tell you whether or not you can do that here in the UK without making any changes to your visa, or whether you need to leave the UK, apply for a new visa, and return. It is very, very difficult now to make any changes to your course, as I say, without making a change to your visa first. So come and talk to us. We will help you through it. The only other thing I wanted to highlight to you was that I'm sure many of you are aware that now the UKVI have quite set rules about the amount of time you can study in the UK on a Tier 4 visa. And that means that for undergraduate and postgraduate taught students, the maximum amount of time you can study here in the UK on a Tier 4 visa is 5 years. If you've got any PhD students in the room, it's slightly different for you. But for the majority of undergraduate, postgraduate students, you have a maximum of 5 years to complete programs under Tier 4. And this means that any changes to your course, if it's going to lengthen the amount of time you're going to be here, may or may not be possible, depending on how long you've already been here. So again, if you want to make any changes, come talk to us. So I mentioned earlier about keeping your visa safe. And the reason I say this is because your visa is very easy to lose. As I said, we do help a lot of students in this situation, and I just want to highlight how this works to you, just in case it happens to you. But I'm sure you're all going to go home, put your visa somewhere safe, and look after it, yes? So if you do lose your visa and passport, the first thing you need to do is you need to report that to the police. If you've lost it, often they won't give you any kind of crime reference number, but you do need that evidence you've reported it to the police to provide the Home Office to get your new visa. The next thing you need to do is go to your embassy and get a new passport. You need your new passport in order to apply for your new BRP card. In the meantime, you need to have reported that you've lost your BRP card to the UKVI, and you should do that within 30 days of losing it or having it stolen, but hopefully that won't happen. Once you've got your new passport, you apply for your new BRP card, and you have to pay, at the moment, £56 to do that. They do put the prices up all the time. So at the moment it's £56, but that might go up in November. So once you've done that, hopefully they would send you your new BRP card. This is why it's really, really important to keep these documents safe, because obviously it's quite a lot of hassle to go through. One of the things, how many of you are thinking that you might want to visit another European country whilst you're studying here? Yeah. It sounds like a really good thing to do. Very convenient and nice trip. One of the things I would say is that if you are going to go overseas to Europe for the weekend, for a week, during your vacation period, obviously, keep your visa and your BRP card very, very safe. If you lose or have your passport and visa stolen whilst you are overseas, the way to get back into the UK is quite complicated. We do see a number of students that end up in this situation, and we do support you through it. But it could mean that you are stranded in the country that you've decided to go to for around 4 weeks whilst you try to sort it out. And this is because if you're overseas, let's say you've decided to go to Barcelona over Christmas, and you get your visa and passport stolen whilst you're in Barcelona, the first thing you need to do is go to your own embassy in Barcelona and apply for a new passport. Once you've been given a new passport, you then need to go to the UK embassy and you need to apply for a temporary travel document, which you need to pay for. I think at the moment it's around £130. But again, prices vary and they do go up. Once you've got your temporary travel document and your new passport, then you can travel back to the UK. At that point, you then have to apply for your replacement BRP card, another £56, and wait for that to come through. As I say, that whole process, you could end up stranded in Barcelona for 4 weeks with no money and no passport and no way to get anywhere else. So the moral of this story is please, please, please keep your passport and your visa very, very safe. Yes? Hello, yes?
Do we have to travel with our BRP card?
So if you're travelling around the UK, there's no requirement to carry your BRP card and your passport with you. So if you're in England, Wales, Scotland, there's absolutely no requirement to carry those documents with you. If you go to Europe, you will need your passport and your BRP card because you will need those documents to get back into the UK. So if you are going to Europe, just keep those documents safe. So as I say, if you do plan to go, yes, sorry.
If I'm from a country that needs a visa for even Europe, can I use this BRP card to enter any European country, or is that only entry and clearance for the UK?
I will cover that in a slide in a moment, but if you've got a visa for the UK, unfortunately that's only a visa for the UK, it's not for any other European country. So if you do decide to travel elsewhere and you want to return to the UK, the only thing you actually need is your passport and your BRP, your visa, to get back into the UK. The only thing I would say, though, with that is that if you do decide to travel during term time, because obviously you're supposed to be attending all of your classes and your lectures and your seminars. So if you decide to go away for the weekend during term time and you want to travel back to the UK, sometimes the immigration officers might question you about why you're traveling during term time. Just tell the truth. I'm going away for the weekend, you know, it's okay. I don't have any lectures. I haven't missed anything. But some students do feel safer when they travel to have what we call an enrollment confirmation letter that is issued by the Compass, which is our general inquiries desk, which you can find on any of the libraries, in their hand luggage to present to the immigration officer together with your passport and your visa. As I say, it's not necessary to have that document, but some students do just feel safer with that because it proves that you have come to the UK, you have enrolled on your studies and you are studying with us. You've just decided to go on a short holiday. So this is where I answer your question about going to Europe. Unfortunately, and as I say, it was not my choice. The UK decided to leave Europe, though it hasn't happened yet, obviously. But we've always had a separate immigration system. So although you've got a visa to be here in the UK, that visa does not grant you entry to any other European country. So if you do want to travel to Europe, and it's a great opportunity for you to do so because you're so close, you should check the country that you want to visit, check their embassy website to see what visa you might need in order to travel there. If you are going to travel, like I said, it's important to keep your passport and your visa very safe. I would strongly recommend that any travel you book, you purchase travel insurance, because that way, if there are any problems, if you do lose your passport and your visa and you get stranded there for 4 weeks, you've at least got some insurance to help you cope and to help you manage your finances whilst you're out there. So it is really, really important that you get travel insurance. There's also some useful information on our website about travelling, so do have a look at that as well. So quite a few of you said that you were thinking of working whilst studying here, which is absolutely fine. It's a good opportunity for you. As I said earlier, you need to check your visa very carefully. Make sure you understand the restrictions, the work restrictions of your visa. For most of you studying undergraduate and postgraduate courses, that means you can work up to 20 hours per week during term time. If we do have any postgraduate master's students here in the room, I must emphasise that the summer period is not a vacation period. That is term time. So you cannot work more than your 20 hours a week during the summer. You might not have scheduled lectures during that time, but it is still classed as term time because you're supposed to be writing up your dissertation, continuing with your research, and attending supervisory meetings. So it is still term time. If we've got any PhD students in the room, for yourselves, the only time you have a vacation is when the university is closed at Christmas and Easter. So if you wanted to work more than your 20 hours a week, you would need to request a vacation from your supervisor in order to do that. If you're not sure about your term times, your department should have your individual term times. But one of the things I do need to highlight to you is at the end of your course, when you've finished your course, most of you will have that 4-month period at the end. And at that point, you can work full-time. But you can only work full-time after the end date of your course as stated on your CAS. So even if you submit your work early, you cannot work full-time until the end date of your course as stated on your CAS, okay? The other thing just to highlight, I'm very sorry if anyone was hoping that they could set up their own business here in the UK. You cannot be self-employed on a Tier 4 visa. And the other one is that if we do have any sports people or entertainers, you cannot be a sports person or an entertainer on a Tier 4 visa either. So if you were hoping to do that, you'd need to look at a different visa category to come back to do that type of work. Some of you might need to extend your visa at some point. Maybe you finish your course with us and you want to do another course with us or with someone else. If that's your case, what I would suggest is you start preparing for that visa extension 3 months before your visa expires. The immigration rules are constantly changing. They have an immigration rule change 3 times a year at the moment. So every April, every July, and every November, the UKVI change the immigration rules, which makes life for you guys quite difficult because nothing is stable, which is why we're here, to support you if anything does change. So if you do need to extend your visa, even though you've already applied for a visa once before and you were successful, that does not mean that you'll be successful again because the rules do change. So if you do need to extend your visa, come and talk to my team. We'll tell you what has changed and we'll tell you what you need to do. But if you prepare 3 months in advance, you'll have plenty of time to get that visa extension sorted. The UKVI do expect you to keep them up to date with any changes to your personal circumstances. There are 2 ways in which you do this. The first way, for simple changes like changes to your UK address or changes to your contact details, you just tell us and we keep that information. You don't need to tell the UKVI as well. If anything else about your personal situation changes, so for example, you get some dependents, a wife, a husband, or if any of you do get a criminal conviction, I hope that won't happen, but if you do, you are required to report that to the UKVI. If anything like that happens, come and talk to us and we'll tell you what you need to do. So, important slide, how do you contact International Student Advice? There are several ways in which you can contact us. You can use our online inquiry form. You can come to a face-to-face drop-in session, and all of our drop-in times are advertised on our website. From October the 18th, we will have our advice line open, so you'll be able to call us during those times. And there's loads and loads of information on our website as well. So do have a look on our website because you might find the answer that you're looking for without having to come and see us. There's also a lot of useful websites out there for you to have a look at. If you want advice about your visa, but you don't want to speak to us because you might not want to, and you'd rather speak to someone independent, UKISA, which is the top one up there, which is the UK Council for International Student Affairs, is an absolutely excellent resource for you. They are independent. They have amazing web pages with information about every visa type you can think of and how that affects you as a student. And they also have a student helpline that you can telephone. So if you do want independent advice, try UKISA. So, I've talked at you for quite a long time. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
If we want legal advice for the typical visa or any counseling, we use that drop-in service, right? We just come in and talk face-to-face, right?
Yes, that's correct. So if you want any advice about your visa, if you come to one of our advice drop-ins, what will happen is one of my advisors will see you. They'll talk through what's going on, and then they'll either book you a longer appointment if that's what you need, or they'll give you the advice you need right there and then, depending on your situation. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
So could we work full-time during vacation?
Yes, so if your visa, as long as your visa says work restricted to 20 hours per week during term time, that means during vacation periods, you can work more than your 20 hours a week. But it's just very important that you check exactly what your vacation periods are, because for each course and level, they're slightly different. Hello. Does it say that you need to register?
Have a look at it once.
Let's have a look. Yes, so it looks like there is a mistake on your visa. So if you come and talk to me at the end of the session, I'll help you with that. As I say, unfortunately, the UKVI do make quite a lot of mistakes, so you're not the only student to have that there. So, any other questions? No. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to my very early morning talk about a very exciting topic that is immigration. I do want to welcome you wholeheartedly to King's, and I look forward to seeing you all again at some point soon. Thank you.